7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Is she satisfied or dissatisfied? She is just a customer, just like everyone else. Like always, giving it to you raw and unedited. Over to you, the short one.
Well, it certainly is a bit nippy, isn't it? But I guess you haven't come for the weather reports. You've come to my new podcast this week. Yay! Oh, I feel a bit horsey. My voice sounds a bit hoarse. So, hello, welcome to this week's podcast by yours truly, the short one. Unlike last week, I'm not mouth almighty. I'm going to take my time saying this one because I don't know what happened to me last week. I was literally like, blah, 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 blah. It's crazy, huh? Anyway, so, I don't know where to start, to be honest. Okay, I know where to start. So, you know, sometimes you go into a shop, but you're not in the mood to really talk? Well, that happened to me today. So, what happened was, I just thought to myself, let me just get a few groceries, let me just quickly nip into Tesco's, come back out, blah, 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 blah. Now, this was during lunchtime hours, so that's why I was in that kind of like, let me just nip in, nip out, because I don't like crowds, I don't like packed places, and I only wanted a few items. So went into Tesco, got my stuff, put it in the basket, proceeded to the front to where the checkouts are, and oh my gosh, it was chaotic. Now, if you want to know what chaotic in Tesco Metro St. Albans like, you're going to have to listen to one of my earlier podcasts, or quite a few of my earlier podcasts. It was just crazy. Like, there was no form of crowd control. There was no form of order. And I just thought, no, not today. Not today. I am not in the slightest of moods. My basket is heavy already. I can feel the skin of my fingers clasping in this oily felt basket, and I don't know what that oily feel is all about, and I'm just thinking germs and shit, but I was like, my arm is gonna be longer than the other one. So I thought to myself, should I just leave it? And the mood I was in, I was willing just to drop the basket on the floor, not in the middle, but just to the side, and just walk out. That's the mood I was in. I was not in the mood to play today. Even though my adventures would have been a fantastic podcast, I was just not in the mood. And when the short one's not in the mood, the short one's not in the mood. So I just thought, oh gosh. Then I thought, let me go to the checkouts at the back of the store. Oh, yep. Woman's at the checkouts. Nobody in the queue. She was just sitting there, literally just sitting there. And I thought, oh my gosh. Wow. So, strutted myself all the way to the checkouts, and literally I still wasn't in the mood. So it's not like I was grateful that there was no one in the queue, you know, but I was just not in the mood. Oh gosh. At the back of the checkouts, the checkouts at the back, she was in a talkative mood. Normally I get the grumpy ones. Normally I get some who will just know that you don't want to talk and have conversation. This one, she just, do you know, to the point, I don't even know what she spoke about, but it was a long conversation and it was so one-sided. If anyone had seen me and her, they would have probably said to her, look, she ain't listening to you. And all I picked out was Halloween, daughter. And the thing is, I wasn't even, like normally I'm quite good at, not hearing what you're saying. Like, you can tell me a full story. I may not be listening, but I'm very good at making you think I'm listening. I know when to do the, ooh, all those kind of things. Like, no. I'm very good at inserting those at the appropriate times. But this one, in this situation, I was not in the mood to the point I didn't even do any of that. And I had to ask her for a plastic bag twice. I said to her at the beginning, can I have 2 plastic bags? So she scanned the first one, and then she started emptying the basket. Then she went into full conversation, and I'm thinking, where's the other plastic bag? And I said to her, because can I have the second one? She was like, oh. She carried on talking. And I thought, thank goodness for contactless. Because literally, as soon as she did it, tap out. No goodbye, not nothing. And to be honest, to be fair, I don't think she even probably thought, she wasn't listening. I think she probably thought, she was a very good conversationalist. No, I wasn't, because I wasn't even responding. But yes, I wasn't in the mood today. I just was not in the mood. I wasn't in the mood to have conversation, for you to tell me whatever's going on in your life, for you to ask me what's happening in my life. I wasn't in the mood for it, because you've already got a packed store, and when I went to the drinks section, the shelves were practically half empty, and my favorite flavors weren't there, so that also added off to me, what, I just can't handle you right now. So anyway, so that was that. So to the woman out there, she's probably thinking, she was a really nice person, but I kid you not, I was just mute. Imagine me being mute. Gordon Bennett. So the other day, I was at Peppercorns. Yes. Oh my gosh, I so love that place. Seriously, I just think, if Peppercorn Sandwich Bar in London Road, St Albans, if that was human, I would marry it straight away. Literally I would. Or if I was in America, I would marry the shop and go on the Jerry Springer show or something, or whatever talk shows there now. They just can't go wrong, really. I mean, okay, two little bits of stories. First of all, gosh, last week, they had their hot food, macaroni cheese. I'm a sucker for macaroni cheese, and I've seen it many times in their hot food section. And I eye up, and I'm like, no, can't do it. No, it's unhealthy, no. So the other week, I was there, and I was ordering some lunch for some people, and my eyes just were locked on the macaroni cheese. It was just locked on it. Oh gosh, it was the dish it was in, it's so deep. I could have actually jumped in head first and swum and ate my way through it. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I was visioning. But my eyes were fixated. Even when they were telling me things like, do you want this in your order? Like I was ordering for someone else. Or, blah, blah, blah. Or this is how much it costs. I couldn't even hear them. All my 4 senses had disappeared. All I had was sight. Okay, and taste as well. I could taste it just by looking at it. It was just, until they clocked on and they were like, do you want some? I was like, no. Don't say that. No, I don't want some. Stop it. No. They were like, are you sure? I was like, oh my gosh, no way. This is happening to me right now. I'm like, seriously, secretly inside, I was shaking, sweating, everything. They couldn't see it, but I was. But it was just like, oh my gosh. I actually understood how junkies feel when they see their next fix over there and they start, shaking. I was literally like that. I went into spasm mode. And I was like, no, it's fine. And they were like, it's really nice, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, oh gosh. And what I need right now is deafness. Like, I can hear them. I can't hear anything else, but they're talking about the macaroni and cheese. I can hear it. You know what I mean? They could have been saying like, there's a fire outside. I wouldn't hear that. If they were like, it's got like, so-and-so cheese. I would hear that. It was literally selective hearing at its prime. And, oh my gosh. So I was like, no, I'm not having it. No, I placed my order for other people. Let me pay for that. And I'm out of here. Done, gone, vermouche. So went, dropped off the order and all this stuff, everything like that. And so now I'm wanting to go to the town centre. And in my head, in my brain, everything else, town centre, got to buy this, we're going to go to the market, blah, blah, blah. Next minute, I'm inside peppercorns. How I got there, I've no idea. My legs have got a mind of its own. So anyway, so I'm there at peppercorns. And as I'm approaching, so I got all my senses back, I said, because they only open like at lunchtime hours kind of thing, I think till 3:30 or 3 o'clock. So I was like, please tell me the macaroni cheese is finished. And they were like, no, there's still some. I was like, oh gosh. And I don't want to do the walk of shame. It's embarrassing. Like, you say that and you walk away. That's disrespectful, right? Right? So I thought, oh my gosh. And then my legs, on their own, start inching further into peppercorns. Next minute, I'm there right in front of them. Then my mouth has a brain of its own. Then it says, I want a portion of that macaroni cheese. Oh, I had no self-control. No self-control whatsoever, and it was just like, So, there they were, putting the macaroni cheese in the container. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Just tell them you don't want it. Or give it to someone and, like, you're walking off, like, yeah, you want macaroni, just don't. And I'm trying to get healthy, and it's like, oh my God. And, as they're putting the spoon into the baking tray thingy, it's like, and they're scooping it over into the little thingy, container thing. The cheese is just literally just stringing it along, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then at one point it snaps, and I'm like, yes, it's snapping into my container. And it's like, oh my gosh. So then I'm like, and then they're like laughing at me. Thank goodness there was no other customer in at the time, at that moment, because I did go like towards the end. And I guess everyone was on their lunch break, like their lunch break was over and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my gosh. So they were like laughing at me, and I was like, oh gosh. Oh, jeez. So anyway, as they're like closing my container, and the cheese is just like, oh, I'm so excited even thinking about it. And then like I'm making a payment, I'm like, oh, this is so bad. And they were literally like pissing themselves laughing at me. So I'm then like saying, because I was having someone coming over right in the evening. And I was going to make dinner and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so I was like, okay, can I put this in the freezer and have it like tomorrow? And they were like, yes, absolutely. Because everything there, and I kid you not, everything there is fresh. It's like done there. It's not like, I've never heard a bing in the back. I've never heard any of that. Even if you go in there a bit early, like if you wanted to get a jacket potato, for example, it's like, sorry, you have to wait 5-10 minutes or whatever, because everything's been cooked there. So they were like, yep, you can put it in the freezer, but the day you want to have it, make sure you defrost it first, and then you put it in the microwave. Because I was like, sometimes when you put something, like, I normally put the frozen stuff into the microwave, and it tastes that funny. And I'm like, no, you shouldn't do that. You should make sure you defrost it first, and then it's better that way. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. So in my head, I thought, okay, that's good. I'll go home, put it in the freezer, like let it cool down, obviously. Put it in the freezer, Bob's your uncle. And even the garlic bread thing, it's like a stick thing, so that you can also do the same thing with that. You can put it in the freezer and then, again, wait for it to defrost, putting it in the microwave. And the garlic bread thingy, I'm not really into that bread. It's like the hard bread. It's like a chia batter. I'm into soft bread. You know, I'm trying to hold on to my teeth here. So they gave me that because it comes with it comes with the macaroni cheese. So I go home and I'm literally like, okay, just take it out, plonk it on the tabletop. And then I went out to the market to go and, you know, do what I had to do. And, I'll tell you about that in a minute. Anyway, so I come home, then after the market, I go home, obviously. Where else am I going to go? Anyway, let me take a quick break right now. Sorry. So don't forget, on the website, www.iamjustacustomer.com, on Facebook and on Instagram, it's I Am Just a Customer, and on Twitter, it's I'm Just a Customer. So remember, I am JUSTACUSTOMER. Don't forget, wherever you're hearing this, please make sure you share, review, all that kind of stuff. And on the social media, don't forget, just feel free to follow. Just feel free to follow. Come and say hi and all that jazz. And what else is there? Can't think of anything else to say really. But anyway, so let's go back to the story. So, I go to the market, then I think, okay, let me go home. Should I tell you what happened in the market? Alright, let me see what happened in the market. So I went to the market, and the main reason why I wanted to go there was to see if my butchers were back. Okay, the butchers is there, but different company, different person. My butchers was 2 people, this was 1 person. I thought, oh gosh, I've got to start the whole rapport thing again, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I was very excited nonetheless, because I was, you know what? I haven't had chicken for a long time, only because I can't be asked to go to Tesco and give them money. Yes, I can go to the other butchers further down the road, but it's too far. But there's still good butchers down the road, but I'm on the other side. And yeah, so to see the mobile butcher, it was great. And then I noticed he had a microphone, like Britney Spears has a microphone. And I went over to him and I said, oh, are you going to be here on Saturday? And he was conversating with me through the microphone. I was thinking, oh gosh, how am I going to build a rapport with you? You're literally telling everyone what you're saying, and they can work out what I'm saying. Ooh, but he seems like a nice chappy. But my freezer's full, so not from the macaroni and cheese, but my freezer was full, so I couldn't take any more meat. But it looked all good. Yeah, fruit and veg store. Did I go there? Yeah, I was looking for that yellow melon thing, honeydew melon. The night before, I was craving for it. I couldn't find it anything. Since I was leaving, there was 1 market stall, fruit and veg stall. I know it's there, but I always forget because it's on the other side. And they had it there. It was shining at me, saying, take me, take me. I was like, yeah, cool, I'm here. So that was that. So I'm walking back home and I'm thinking to myself that, okay, hopefully that macaroni cheese is like cooling down. And then I was thinking of what I was going to prepare for my friend when he comes out round later and stuff. So my mind was pretty occupied. So I wasn't like, literally like, you know, let me run and bolt it down to go and eat the macaroni and cheese. I was literally like, yeah, whatever. So got home, unloaded all my stuff in the kitchen and was purposely blocking the view with plastic bags and items of the macaroni cheese because for some reason I was like sensing that, oh my gosh, it's right there. I'm getting excited again. And then when I finished unpacking, I went to like test to see the temperature. Don't ask me why, because this is about, I'm thinking about half an hour since I'd got it. And then next minute the macaroni cheese is in my plate and the garlic bread is right by the side. And there's a fork as well. And I'm thinking, seriously, my body parts are just, they've got a mind of its own, really, and I have no idea why, but today, I'll tell them off later. So there I am, looking at the, and next minute, I'm on my second bite, third bite, and then, firstly, this mac and cheese, it covered the whole plate. It's a massive portion. And it's so fucking good. I didn't need, normally I need to add my own salts to food. No, it was just right. And on the fork, when I was lifting it up, we've got the dangly bits of the cheese and everything. Next minute, I'm using my chia battle roll as well, putting it on there, on top of it, like, I don't know. And then putting it in my mouth and crunch, crunch, crunch. It was, oh my gosh. And then I thought, whoa, this is heavy. This was, do you know what? It was so heavy. And I looked at the plate, I still had more than halfway to go. And I actually thought, should I be skank and just put some aside for my friend and say, oh, look what I made, kind of thing. But I thought, let me have one more bite and I'd think about it. Another bite, I'll think about it. Before I knew it, my stomach is bursting. My stomach is hurting, right? But I've still got like a quarter left to go. I was getting to that food coma bullshit, and I was literally lying on the sofa, button undone. You know, it was a hideous sight, and I'll still feed the chia batter garlic bread. That was already in my stomach by now. And remember, I don't know, that stuff was good. And I don't normally go for that kind of hard bread, but that stuff was good. It was just a good compliment to the macaroni cheese. And I remember when I finished the macaroni cheese, all I remember was lying down, feeling, oh my gosh, what the hell just happened there? And next minute, I woke up and I was thinking, shit, when did I fall asleep? I passed out. It was, that macaroni cheese was was not one of it. It was the most amazing macaroni cheese I have ever had. And trust me, anyone that knows me knows I love my pasta with cheese. You know, you can't have pasta without cheese. And I thought I made a mean, like, pasta with cheese. Notice I'm saying pasta, not macaroni, because normally I don't use the actual macaroni pasta, macaroni. I just use, like, whatever, you know, that pen stuff. No, is it pen? P-E-N-N-E? I'll throw any pasta and just put it with cheese. Normally it comes up very nice. But this was, I'm going to use the phrase I rarely ever use. I don't know if I've ever used it, but it was the dog's bollocks. I tell you, it was, and I kept thinking when I woke up, like literally like, where the hell am I? Like, why am I feeling so full? And I actually even woke up like thinking, did that actually happen? I saw the container and everything empty and I thought, oh gosh. But I actually thought, if you were at work, how do you eat this? I would have been sleeping at my desk horizontally, not under to hide. I would have just got laid on top of my desk, horizontal, obviously, and just used I don't know, what would you use for a pillow? I would have turned my monitor so the back was facing up, so my head goes on the back of the monitor, because that's nice and warm, and just fallen asleep. But let me tell you, that macaroni cheese, it was just absolutely amazing. Amazing. I think for anyone to top that, I don't think there is anyone out there that could top that, to be honest. I mean, anyway, whilst we're on the subject of the peppercorns in St Albans, London Road, so the other day I was a bit peckish. I don't usually eat breakfast, And so I ordered jam on toast, no butter. And it was like the best jam on toast I've ever had. Toast with jam on toast. It was the best ever. And the thing is, trust me, I'm not sponsored by the peppercorns, but if this is the thing, if you produce good stuff, right, and your customer service and everything else that goes with it is just as good, this is what happens. People cannot stop talking about it. This right here is an example of what happens. And also on the flip side, if you do a shit job, this is what happens. But I'm not here to trash small businesses. See, you're a small business, I haven't spoken about you. But anyway, so going back to the jam on toast and jam. So I was like, so after having it, because I'm not really a bread fan. Like, I can't tell you when I last bought bread. But after having that, I kept craving for jam on toast and jam. And I kept thinking, okay, I'm going to go to the shops and get some bread and some jam. And I can be making this myself every morning. Even though I'm not a breakfast person. I know, bad health, unhealthy, whatever. So today I had, again, from Peppercorns, but I had it with brown bread this time. Just so I know which bread to go for. But I think I'll stick with the white bread. But it's still delicious. And again, ingredients are bread and just jam. So why the hell was it when I went and bought bread and jam and I tried it, it wasn't the same? Okay, I might use a different brand of jam, but it wasn't the same. It literally was not the same. But Peppercorns do a nice mean bread and jam as well. Bread and jam, toast and jam. Jam and toast. But yeah, but it wasn't the same. Anyway, so what else has happened? Oh yeah, so I went to the cathedral and to the poppy exhibition. I'm sure it has got a title of what it was called. So I went there, and I just must say the queue was very long. It was a spontaneous visit. It wasn't planned. The queue was very long, but the queue was moving so fast. And I kept thinking that if somebody who saw that queue probably thought, oh gosh, you know what? We're not going. Look at the queue. You missed out. I'd say, because it was moving. I think it took us like 15 minutes in the queue, but from where we started in the queue, it seemed like, if it was anywhere else, we would have been there like 2 hours, 3 hours, the whole day, probably still queuing now. But yeah, the exhibition was okay. It was, inside the cathedral was very weird. I didn't notice it for some reason. I've not noticed things like that, but my friend was like, oh, the pews have all gone. There's no chairs, there's no seating. And I was like, oh yeah, so there is. How can I not notice that? Like, for some reason, I was in a big auditorium, because it wasn't very, because it was illuminated lights and projection lights and stuff. I kind of forgot I was in the cathedral. But yeah, it was good. It was good. Yes, I'm not sounding so enthusiastic about it. I personally think it could have been a bit better, but it was good. But what I will say is the crowd control was amazing. I don't know if there were volunteers or people from the church, but it was very nicely ordered. Like, everything was in order. You knew where you were. And, it was just seeing them with the little flashy things and the Viz jackets. It was everything. Not that I was expecting like a mob, like, I don't know, football fans or something like that. But it was just so orderly done. It was, just so safe. The only thing I would say that was a bit weird, when I was placing my donation, I did say to one of the volunteers, I was like, oh, do you have any poppies? And they were like, no, we don't. We're not selling poppies here. And I was like, oh, okay. I thought, oh, a bit weird. But yeah, but it was, I think if I was to have travelled from far, I probably would have been like, it wasn't worth it. But because I didn't have to travel from far, it was okay, and apparently it was the first one, so hopefully next year and the years after, it will be amazing. I've spoken a lot. I'll do a very quick break. So don't forget the website, www.iamjustacustomer.com, Facebook, Instagram, I'm Just a Customer, Tesco, Twitter, I'm Just a Customer. Don't forget to share it, blah, 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 blah. You know what to do. Don't keep me to a dirty little secret. So, went to the GP surgery. I know I sound like I'm always there, right? She's moving, shouldn't I? But I went to my GP surgery. All I'm going to say is, wish they'd put aircon in there, because the fact that there's a toilet underneath the stairs, which that stairs is always used all the time. Somebody, had been sat on the throne, was in there for a very long time, and trust me, what they produced, we all knew about it. And I just think that putting aircon or something, because in that area where the stairs are, it is very stuffy anyway. That's all I have to say on that. Yeah. So, went to the post office to go and collect my Amazon order, and also my cousin sent me a gift, and I wasn't meant to pick it up, so I had those sorry we missed you cards, and so I had to pay 70p for them to send it to the post office, blah, blah, blah. So I went to go and pick it up. I don't know why that bit of information was to your benefit. It probably wasn't. So I went to go and pick that up, and I was with a woman. She was like, "Oh, can I help you?" At the back, where it's collections and whatever. So she's like, "Hi, can I help you?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll come to pick up some orders." She was like, "Oh yeah, sure. I remember seeing your name." I was like, "What?" It's like, how the hell does she know my name? And she disappeared before I could even ask her. She came out, yep, true to her word, with my packages. And I was like, oh my gosh, am I doing too many Amazon orders here? And the thing is, sometimes I do spread it out between the collection points at the hotel, is it Premier Inn, whatever, the main post office, and then the one on London Road. I do try and even it out. It's like, oh my gosh, that's quite embarrassing. But yeah, and I think I hadn't been there for quite a while, but she obviously keeping an eye on me. But I'm thinking, oh, am I ordering too much? And I think I am, seriously. I need to go into a self-help group. Very much so, very much so. So I'm going to end this podcast this week, just on a kind of a sad note, but also a note where it kind of makes me, I don't know, scratch my head a little bit. But where do I start? I knew about St Albans many years ago when I used to live in Hertfordshire, but not this part. And St Albans was like, oh, this is like an amazing place. It was so upmarket. It was really nice. All this kind of stuff. I remember, I'm stuttering. I remember I used to come here like practically every weekend, and then when I was made redundant and stuff, I moved back to London, and I'd always said that if I ever move back, I want to move to St Albans. I love Hertfordshire. Trust me, I love the Shires. And I said to myself, I want to move back to St Albans. Like literally live there, not move back, live there, because the imprint it leaves in your head is like of this amazing old town with modern shops. Everyone's lovely, everyone's nice. So I move up here, and yeah, well, you got to listen to my podcast to know what my experiences are like in St Albans. It's been up and down, love and hate. Not from my part, obviously, but other than that, I'm still here. Yes, I'm in the middle of a rental agreement contract thing, but I've just renewed it, so I'm still here. So anyway, one thing I never thought I'd ever see, and I've mentioned this in previous podcasts, is the amount of homeless people. And now it's getting to cold times. It's, you know, I'm more like, oh gosh, this is sad. Like, this is really sad. And the thing is, when you do see St. Albans, let's say weekday lunchtime-ish, so when the streets are a bit, not busy, but, you know, whatever, you tend to see more than you would, let's say, if you came on a market day or when something's happening. And what I noticed today was, yes, there's empty buildings like the Pound World, the BHS, and there's another building. I was like, not like shop that's gone down. I was like, what the hell was there before? I can't remember what was there before. And so you got that site to look at. And then the sad sight to see is that now they're becoming people's homes, like the homeless people's homes, in inverted commas. And it's really, really sad. But at the same time, it's starting to look like, a bit like Skid Row. And I'm part of like the Facebook homeless St. Albans group. And when I see on there, like, people are doing their best they can for the homeless. And it's so good. Like, there's people out there wanting to do something. But I just think to myself that, wait a minute, this is Britain. This is Great Britain, right? Why should it be down to civilians when higher powers should be doing something about it? And, you know, because I saw, like, what do you call it? Sleeping bags and, you know, makeshift pillows and stuff. And then, like, a plate. And I'm assuming that somebody had probably given them some hot food or something. But it was just so, like, sad to see. Yeah, but it's really sad. And I don't know. That's all I can say about it. And I'm still like, nah. Anyway, thank you for listening to my podcast this week. And don't forget, if you enjoy it or if you hate it, share it. Love, peace, and hair grease.
Oh, this you crazy mother.